All right. So thank you all so much for joining today. Before I pass the ball over to Dennis Robbins, who is going to be leading this ERate training today, I wanted to go ahead and briefly go over a little bit about DSI and some of their services. My name is Sabrina Fari, and I'm a customer success manager here at DSI. DSI is a Cisco Gold partner with a master's in collaboration, networking, and security. We have certified CCIE security engineers, and we offer tier 1 managed security services with security monitoring, detection, managed breach defense, and managed security devices, and so much more. So if you're looking for round-the-clock monitoring, we've got you covered. If you're looking for something a little more hands-on or with a guided approach to implementation and adoption, we also have My Team, which is a certified customer success team. After you purchase a product with DSI, that is from Cisco, our customer success manager, like myself, will listen to your business goals and develop a plan to get your products implemented and get your teams adopted and using the product. So we bring in our engineers as needed to help you train your teams and assist in implementing your technologies. Our goal is to make sure you understand how the product works and receive your maximum return on investment. So if you have any questions about our managed services or about what our team offers, there's a couple different things you can do. You can reach out to your DSI account manager or reach out to sales@dsitech.com. There's information on our website at dsitech.com, or you can reach out specifically to my team, the customer success team, at impact@dsitech.com. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Dennis, and he's going to get you trained and hopefully share some great information about ERate.
Thank you so much, Sabrina.
You're
I'm going to take the ball from me if I can, or can you pass that to me, please?
I'm passing it right now. Here you go.
All righty, and then just going to take a moment here to share, and then I'm going to take a moment to say good morning, everybody. So I'm Dennis Robbins, and I'm a member of Cisco's public funding team. We do a few things there. Number one, obviously, I'm here to talk about ERate to you today. So we provide a lot of support for all of our Cisco internal people, as well as our partners like DICES, in understanding ERate and assuring compliance. And then the other thing we do is we keep a real high awareness of different types of alternative funding sources, grants, school bonds, and most recently, we've been focused on the CARES Act. So we're going to talk about ERate today, and if it's November, the ERate program is starting to bloom, or the leaves may be falling. The flowers of the ERate program, we're just starting here. So I'm going to be real basic. Some of you might be aware of some of this, but I know there's a lot of people new in K12 schools and public libraries, and there's a lot of new folks out there. So first thing is, this is a program that's been around 24 years. We're entering the 24th year, 24th procurement cycle, if you will. It was established back with the Telecommunications Act of 1996. It continues to be the largest single source of educational technology funding in the country. Eligible participants are public schools, private schools, charter schools. Get a ton of participation out of the K-12 side of this, but also public libraries are eligible as well. The program has an annual cap of $4.2 billion, so that money is available every year, and often there's money left over, and they kind of roll that forward, so sometimes it's a little more. And the thing to remember about the ERate program is it is a discount program. It is not a grant. And your discount is based on the percentage of students that you have in a national free lunch program, and libraries line up very closely to the schools in that eligibility matrix. It's 20 to 90% based upon the students enrolled. And just to kind of say that in a way we can all understand that, you know, even the wealthiest school districts in the country are eligible for 20% off of their telecommunications, their equipment bills. And that means that the most needy school districts in the country can get 85% or 90% off of their equipment bill. So this is a very strong program. It's been around for a while, and it continues to be strong. So we're going to start off with what's new. And at the end of last year, the FCC improved the program significantly. Prior to that, there was a system in place for funding that all applicants had their budgets capped. For schools, it was based upon the dollars per student. For libraries, it was based upon square footage. What the FCC did in December of 2019 was they actually made this system permanent, so that every 5 years, starting in this year, running through 2025, and then every 5-year period after that, your E-rate budget resets. So you have 5 years to use that budget, and you have flexibility to do that. You could, if all your procurement is front-loaded in year 1 or 2, you've got flexibility to do that. If you have a more phased approach over the 5 years, you have flexibility to do that. So that was a real important step because that makes the program predictable. Second, the budget caps used to be managed at the individual building level. So as you can imagine, if you're a school district and you had 50 school buildings, that's a lot of administration and a burden. Same thing for a library system with a lot of branches in it. But they eliminated that. These budget caps are now managed at the school district or the library system level, which is terrific because that gives you flexibility on how to effectively use that money within your school library system. So this year it's $167 per student for schools, and for the libraries it's $4.50 per square foot. The third thing that they did was they increased the minimum amount of E-rate budget even the smallest schools or the smallest library systems could have. It is now $25,000. You have that over a 5-year period. Again, flexibility on how you implement that. So, you know, we looked at, mentioned before, this is a very strong program. These changes at the FCC made the program even stronger and much simpler and more effective for you guys as applicants to use. So just checking in here with the status, we're at that time of year where E-rate cycles from the previous year and the upcoming year, they're overlapping. So last year, we look where we are now. There has been about $1.8 and $1.9 billion that were requested out of Category 1, which is telecommunications and internet services. And then there's been another $1.14 billion requested from Category 2, which is equipment. They work through these applications over time. We're going to get into process in a little bit, but they've made a lot of progress. There's $1.2 billion has been approved in Category 1. There's been $618 million approved in Category 2. What we see is most of the medium and smaller schools, school systems, library systems, they've already been approved. What typically happens is the largest school districts, because their applications are more complicated, they tend to slip later in the year. So this is terrific, just terrific progress by the E-rate program. And then moving into this year, I mentioned we're starting to see it bloom, and we are. We've had over 2,500 requests for services, that's called the Form 470, that have been posted, and it's just about double what it was this time last year. So because of the new rules, everybody has a fresh budget. We're expecting a lot of participation, and the thing I'd say is it's just a terrific buying opportunity for you at this point in time because of those rules. The other thing that's happening is we're waiting for the FCC to approve the eligible services list. We're going to get into that in a second around eligibility. And then what typically happens is there's a certain period of time where you have to file your application for funding. It usually opens after the first of the year, and that ends sometime by the end of March. We don't have confirmed dates for that yet, but everything we're seeing indicates that that's going to be very similar. So be prepared and get ready. So let's talk about eligible services. And I should say Eric Wright, my colleague Eric Wright from Cisco is going to come on later, and he's going to talk a little bit about eligible services in some more detail and related to Cisco products. But for this is just for purposes now, just a high-level overview. I mentioned Category 1, telecommunication services. That's your internet access. That's wide area networking between school sites or library sites. The whole list of different technologies that's supported. Also, we've seen schools and/or libraries lease dark fiber from their local municipality or another third party. So there's one exception. There's some equipment that terminates the fiber optic cables. That equipment is also Category 1. But the overwhelming majority of the equipment is in Category 2. And just to kind of simplify, Category 2 is switching, it's routing, it's wireless access points, wireless controllers, and a quick comment that when the program was improved 6 years ago, the whole idea was to help folks like you improve your wireless connections within your school buildings. So that was really important that continues to be eligible. Also, there's some basic firewall services. There's some caching, and of course, anything you need to power it up, anything you need to rack it up, and operating software. And Eric's going to have some more to say about the specific eligibility around some of the Cisco licenses. So there you have it. Again, this is not final for this year, but we expect no changes. Now, what I didn't say, what's ineligible, looks like this. Voice communication services, not eligible. Any kind of video switching, not eligible. Any type of servers are not eligible. And probably most importantly, any type of an endpoint. So whether that's a phone, it's a video endpoint, computers, none of that is eligible under the ERate program. Now, there's a couple of other product lines that are eligible. The ERate program lets you outsource your wireless networks and your local networks. So if you have a vendor own the equipment, manage that for you, deliver a monthly charge to you, that model is eligible. Also, you can continue to maintain ownership of the equipment. You can outsource the management of that network. That's also eligible. Those are called managed internal broadband connections. And of course, basic maintenance continues to be eligible. Very basic maintenance. It's just TAC access, software bug fixes. There's bundled warranties that are covered under the ERate program as well. Now, let's spend a little more time on process here. And I mentioned we're kind of at that point where we're overlapping. But if we kind of start off where we are right now, what we're seeing is schools and libraries filing Form 470. Form 470 is just basically a request for products and services. It can be accompanied by a formal RFP. The goal of the ERate program is that the procurement be fair, open, and competitive, and the ERate program maintains a large user portal called the ERate Productivity Center. So all applicants register, all authorized service providers, vendors register. You post that Form 470 and it's available publicly for any vendor to respond to. You are allowed to specify some technology, but there's language that automatically attaches to that request. So if you were requesting a Cisco switch, it would say or equivalent, which is how the FCC maintains that fair, open competitiveness, because that means other vendors can submit proposals to you. So Form 470 goes up. You're going to go through your vendor evaluation matrix. I would note that you must give price the highest weight amongst all your categories. Obviously, it's depending on how many categories you have. It could be technology solutions, it could be compatibility, it could be the reputation of vendors, the quality of their installation, their project management. All of those things are certainly part of a vendor evaluation, but yeah, price has to be the most weighted component of that. So that's great. You go through that, then you're going to sign your contract with your vendor, And at that point, you're ready to go to the next filing stage, which is Form 471. This is the point where you actually tell the E-rate program how much you're going to be spending, and you're going to itemize everything that you're buying, and you're going to identify who you're buying it from as a result of your vendor evaluation. Now, the bidding requirement is that when you post the Form 470, it's got to stay open, fair, open, competitive. So it stays open. It has to stay open for a minimum of 28 days. So your procurement cycle may be longer than that, but you can't sign a contract before that 28th day is up. So that's something important to keep in mind. In terms of the timing, I mentioned that filing window for Form 471 is going to open after the first of the year. It's going to close by the end of March. So if you just back up 28 days, that means that you're going to have to file a Form 470 no later than somewhere around the end of February. And of course, I think everybody recommends that you don't wait till the last minute. Okay, so now we're kind of, you filed the forms and there's thousands and thousands of Form 471s. The E-rate program is going to start evaluating all of those. We have been seeing, we are now 25, 26 weeks of commitments. This is a really important point in the program because when you receive a funding commitment decision letter, that's the green light for your project to start implementation. So what you typically see is if the window closes at the end of March, somewhere around the end of April, the E-rate program is going to start issuing waves of funding commitment decisions. So there's, dozens and dozens of funding commitments within a wave. They usually release it on a Thursday or a Friday, most likely. Generally no rhyme or reason how that happens, but if you file earlier, you have a better chance of getting an earlier funding commitment. That's what we see, but that's a loose correlation at best. So great, you have your funding commitment in hand. The next step is you got to tell the E-rate program when you're starting service. The way you do that, and this is a customer responsibility, an applicant responsibility, is you file Form 486, and you tell the E-rate program, I'm working with my vendor, we're ready to start our project. The reason that's important is because that gives the green light to the E-rate program to start reimbursing money. So there's a couple of ways that happens. Number one, it's called a billed entity applicant reimbursement. So you as the customer or as the applicant, you have the choice on how this happens. But you could have your vendor bill you the full cost of the project. Let's say it's a $100,000 project. And let's say you have a 50% E-rate discount. Okay. You could have your vendor bill you the $100,000 and then you send a request for reimbursement to the E-rate program for your discounted amount. So you get back $50,000. You have $50,000 responsibility out of pocket that you've secured in your budget somehow. That's the first way. The other way it happens is kind of a split billing scenario where you tell your vendor, okay, just bill me my $50,000 out of pocket, and then the vendor submits a service provider invoice to the E-rate program. Your vendor gets reimbursed within 20 business days directly from the E-rate program. The vendor's made whole, and the project continues. So again, that timing, it's based on when you get your funding commitment. You can, as soon as you get that funding commitment, you can work with your technology team and your vendors, get your project plan in place, and the minute you start, you get 486, and then you'll start getting reimbursed as you pay those bills with whatever arrangements that you have. So I mentioned I mentioned a couple of things. I mentioned your copay, your out-of-pocket cost under the E-rate program. I also mentioned the number of ineligible items. So I just wanted to take a moment and talk about the CARES Act money that's been aligned to elementary and secondary education. It's possible that CARES Act money may align to some of those ineligible costs and your out-of-pocket. It's all going to depend whether that project has been tied directly to COVID relief. So that's why I say it's possible. So you're going to want to look at your projects, anything that's in response to that. Let's just say you're implementing a remote learning platform and you might need a core switch upgrade in order to handle the increased video traffic. That's the kind of thing that's possible that you'd be able to use CARES Act money that you've received as part of your copay. So that's something you're going to want to talk to, your local team about, your local leadership team, and of course we always encourage that you contact the ERate program directly. They have the help desk and ask these kinds of questions. But you've got the Elementary and Secondary Relief Fund, which was direct allocations to K12 schools. And then you've also got a pot of money that the governors receive under CARES Act, earmarked for education. It's both for higher education and for K12 education. I know in Maryland and in Virginia especially, we've seen the governors there outline funds, whether it's through this Governor's Act or there's actually money from the Treasury Department that they have access to as well. But, important you just, ask your leadership, about these dollars and actually what you're getting out of that, because, there is some flexibility on how you use those dollars. And under the Elementary and Secondary Fund, there's about 12 priorities the Department of Education has outlined. One of those is clearly instructional technology and supporting teaching and learning under the COVID circumstances. So, folks, let me stop there. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to the rest of the team now.
All right. Thank you so much, Dennis. Just as a reminder to everyone, there is a quiz at the end of this. And we do have a prize for that. Is an Amazon gift card. So make sure you stick around. In addition to that, this recording will be on our social media pages tomorrow. So if you want to listen later or share it with a colleague, feel free to. With that, I'm going to go ahead. Dennis, can you go ahead and pass the ball over to Eric, and he's going to take us into our next portion.
I'd be happy to. All right, my friend, take it away.
Can everyone hear me okay?
You're done.
Beautiful. Let me go here. Can everyone hear me now that I'm sharing?
You're good.
Good deal. Thank you. Just want to make sure I'm on a friend's lake house. We are between homes. We had moved, and a friend was nice enough to lend me her place, and this broadband is not the same in the country as it is in the city, so to speak. And so we've had a little bit of fits and starts on occasion. But anyway, thank you, DSI team, and thanks everybody for taking the time to join. My name is Eric Wright. I'm the region manager for enterprise networking in all of our SLED business across the country. And my team is basically the liaison between our business units in San Jose and your Cisco field sales teams and our partners out in the field. And our job is just to educate on what's new from a technology perspective, what's new from a program and promotion perspective, et cetera. And obviously, because I'm strictly focused on public sector, ERate and K12 buying cycles and whatnot are naturally top of mind. So it's something we have a lot of familiarity with and experience with myself. I've been in the public sector realm for 13 plus years and really do enjoy it. Matter of fact, my career before then, Dennis, you gave me flashbacks there when your slide earlier made reference to ATM as one of the eligible services. I had a flashback to my pre-Cisco days in the carrier world and had to laugh there for a moment. But first, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone on the call, both DSI as well as everyone on the customer side for a great year 23 in the ERate program. It was a little bit of a strange year, like Dennis mentioned. It was that 1 year sort of layover, and we all worked collectively to find creative plans, because that 1 year budget maybe didn't allow for systemic, district-wide upgrade, but collectively we put our heads together and we found some creative solutions with that small pocket of money, right? Maybe it was an M-gig switch on the top of an existing stack or a small wireless upgrade or whatever the case might be, but made for a great year for all of us, and we're obviously excited about the prospects of the new 5-year window here that Dennis alluded to and what the potential may bring. So really what I wanted to do is just kind of give an overview, a brief overview of the solutions that Dennis alluded to, category 2 and all the pieces that go into that, routing, switching, and wireless being some of the primary components. We shouldn't overlook in some of those larger size districts how some of that category 1 dark fiber activity that Dennis alluded to is coming into vogue, if you will, and we're playing an increasing role in those kind of deployments now. It's to some degree it's been the limited to NFL markets, but I think that's moving downward. So if you're in sort of a mid-tier market, have 60, 80, 100 locations or whatnot, there's probably an opportunity to look at that as well. But the focus of this primarily is the what we call the Catalyst campus at the end of the day, right? And that's the routing, switching, wireless platforms. And I alluded to that success in the previous year, and a lot of it is because we've done a great job at Cisco of aligning our portfolio on the Catalyst side to look much like, maybe the Meraki, for example, where you have one kind of common interface. Now Catalyst looks and feels much the same way, right? Not only is there a common interface, but there's a common operating system, which makes it extremely popular. So for those who haven't been tracking at home, gone are the days of a 2960 and the edge running a certain code release, a 4500 at the distribution running a different code release, a 6500 at the core with yet a different code release, and then the wireless running an altogether different operating system. From now on, as you see on the screen here, you can run 17.2 iOS XE and literally power every component on the screen, every component of the access distribution wireless network, which is really powerful and usually earns me a little bit of that slow, sarcastic golf clap from a crowd if I'm doing this in front of a live audience. So it was a long time coming, but we're thrilled. It's driven a lot of success here on the Cisco side and the customer side for reasons, obvious reasons, right? Like simplification and ease of operation, ease of management. And we'll talk about some of the tools we use there in a moment. Other things that you should be excited about looking ahead and sort of thinking about this slide are the advent of Wi-Fi 6. For those who haven't looked into it closely, I would highly encourage you to kind of read up on it or work with us at Cisco or DSI on understanding what that value proposition looks like. I'll give you the best summary I can give you in one sentence or less. It was Jim, one of our key product developers. He came by way of an acquisition to Cisco, but he's been with us a long time in the RF research and development side. And he got up at Cisco Live a year ago and he said, Wi-Fi 6 is as if they took everything that was broken in Wi-Fi and they fixed it in one fell swoop, which made me scratch my head for a moment because I said, well, I didn't think anything was broken, Jim. Wi-Fi works pretty well. We're over those old days where it was, kind of a sketchy connectivity, best effort kind of thing. I mean, everybody relies on it and it's a little bit like oxygen. But when you look at the fact that it sort of really opens up 2.4 for the IoT domain, or it gets away from a token ring style communication method, since we're talking about older technologies here on this call, it gets away from that token ring style communication method where it's Dennis's turn, then it's Eric's turn, and so on. And it really evolved to a switch type, kind of communication method where I'm communicating with multiple clients simultaneously, being able to receive multiple signals simultaneously. It really is an unbelievably powerful story for the high density environment that K12 and education in general represents. So there should be a lot of excitement there, and we would encourage you to reach out to talk to us collectively about the benefits of the Wi-Fi 6, capabilities. And of course, the portfolio is fully optimized for that now. And, again, more than happy to talk to everybody here. We love talking to, upstream from those Wi-Fi 6 AAPs to, ultimately those Catalyst switches with that MGig capability. Because, again, with these new standards, you can drive, believe it or not, well north of a gigabit of throughput from that AAP to that switch. As a matter of fact, Wi-Fi 6 opens up some channels and allows us to really drive, significantly wider channels, which again drives throughput and whatnot in an unprecedented manner. And we can oversubscribe that traditional 1 gig link between AP and switch. And obviously, if you're taking the time right here in the first of this 5-year window, your budgets might allow for you to really upgrade that entirety of the infrastructure on the switch and AP alike. Of course, there's the rest of the Catalyst infrastructure throughout, right, up to the core, the aggregation solution. And then again, I alluded to it, the wireless controllers now falling under that Catalyst brand, using that same iOS XE operating system to unify what we're doing on the screen here. And it really was, we've kind of been working towards this for a few years. We announced these Cat9K switches in summer 2017 with a goal towards intent-based networking and really automating and simplifying network operations. And we've done a great job of that to this point. And I want to kind of share with you what the typical customer journey looks like. And I'll be honest, there's a few reasons why K-12s have been, behind the curve, so to speak, on adopting this journey. And it's nothing to do with your guys, understanding of technology or capabilities or, ERate or anything like that. It was, well, I guess ERate a little bit. The ERate didn't pay for certain, features that viewed as optional. If you remember, identity solutions like ICE and Radius and whatnot, not paid for by ERate. Cisco Prime, not paid for by ERate. But we've been able to change that slowly but surely over time. And Dennis and his team deserve kudos because there's been some lobbying that has to happen to sort of make these changes happen over time. And now we're at a scenario where the DNA licensing that really helps our customers in this journey, right? That gets you through, automation and plug and play kind of capabilities in a switching infrastructure, not unlike your wireless, AP2 controller kind of relationship. Now your switches phone home to DNA center. The assurance capabilities across the wired and wireless platforms collectively, even, kind of some of the more advanced automation, or I should say segmentation capabilities like software-defined access. All of that now falls under the ERate rules that are 100% ERate eligible, meaning the Cisco, the DNA Essentials license, the DNA Advantage license that you'd want to use, depending where you're at on this continuum, 100% ERate eligible. And that wasn't the case 12 or even 18 months, for sure 18 months ago. So we're really excited about it. Again, wired and wireless, Essentials Advantage, 100% covered by ERate. And that's definitely new information that I wanted everyone here to kind of leave with and understand. So really, this kind of drills down on it a little bit further, but I want to show you why this is relevant too in a moment. If you're going to start with in a more basic fashion, DNA Essentials is probably where you're going to want to look. It's just, the basic onboarding, basic monitoring and troubleshooting and image management and whatnot. It's a great start point for some customers who haven't played with any of the automation tools. If you're looking for something a little more advanced in terms of the segmentation strategies within the district, and some of our customers are definitely doing this. I can tick off a half a dozen right in my little world in the Midwest here that are doing it. As well as, potentially some advanced feature sets on the switching side, containerized applications for IoT and kind of stuff you've never dreamed of or didn't know possible. Advantage might be the solution for you. Premier brings about some of those additional security feature sets like Stealth Watch and identity services, if you will, but that one's not strictly 100% covered by ERate, so I'll kind of leave that aside for a moment. But these first two are, and they're instantiated by way of a solution we also introduced in 2017 called DNA Center. And again, we were giving away DNA Center with a lot of these solutions, a lot of these software purchases to the majority of our customers for years. But a lot of K-12 said, I can't take that because of ERate rules. I can't take a free appliance provided as part of your solution. But now we've introduced the cloud variation of DNA Center. So if you have these licenses and you haven't done anything with them, you have an opportunity to, by way of what we call DNA Center Cloud. And if you're planning to go ahead and implement some of this, and you're worried about ERate eligibility and or free stuff, we don't want to get anyone in trouble. The cloud iteration, there's no cost to it. We simply, point your smart account with your DNA licensing at the DNA Center Cloud instance, and you'd be up and running and have that opportunity to start onboarding your devices and doing some of the, kind of basic things that DNA solutions allow for by way of the cloud-based application. So we're really excited about that one as well. And we think it's going to drive up the adoption quite a bit and the consumption of the solution by the folks in your particular K-12 world. So like I mentioned, $0 additional investment for that DNA Center Cloud iteration and 100% ERate eligibility, again, on the switching and wireless portfolio, for both of those licenses. And really, I just wanted to leave you with, Cisco's history and lineage in education and our kind of devotion to the market. For those who aren't familiar, Cisco Networking Academy is an example where we've trained 8 million students around the world in our technologies and our capabilities and, in a job training and, career focused segment that's really unprecedented in the market. We love that. Our commitment to education in general as a culture at Cisco and a way we give back just in just about every market I visit, and I cover the whole country. Every market I visit, there's always activity with the local teams, working with our public sector customers and our education customers in particular. Love seeing that. And again, with our history being born at Stanford and kind of commitment to the education market at both K-12 and higher ed, it's never been a great time to partner with us. So we look forward to everybody's involvement here. And I'll kind of stop there for a moment, see if there's questions or thoughts from the audience that anyone wants to ask in particular. Just to be clear, everyone's still here, be right?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Very good, thanks. I only laugh because it happened to me on a couple of calls where I realized I was talking 5-10 minutes later, and like I said, with the slightly off broadband that we have here. One thing I'll comment on in a little bit more detail, actually, is since we have a minute, is just the disruptive nature of that Wi-Fi 6 capability and that Wi-Fi 6 technology. I didn't really get into it, but and I have a slide, I have plenty of slides I could pull up, but I don't have one at the ready. But I'll just suffice it to say that the way things work with multi-user MIMO, right? The ability to communicate to multiple clients simultaneously now, from an access point, has driven the scale and the consumption, if you will, of the Wi-Fi network up significantly in and of itself. It's also just gotten so much more efficient. The granularity, or the way it uses the airtime, if you will, is so much more efficient than it was before. Again, in thinking about that token ring scenario versus a kind of an Ethernet, right? I have the ability to apply almost QoS in line, so to speak, and check back with, if Dennis is on a voice call, check back with him more frequently, but only give him a little small subset of the RF or the airtime that he needs to do a voice call, versus myself consuming a YouTube video at high def and taking 5 or 10 meg or whatnot. It's a dramatically different example, and so the network is now set up to, from an RF perspective, deal with that, because the back end of the network always had that capability. The RF side, it always lacked, and that's one of the key improvements here in the Wi-Fi 6 domain. So we're definitely enjoying that, and customers who have put those early Wi-Fi 6 clients on their network are seeing some of those unique benefits as well. I'd be intrigued to hear if anyone's tried it on the call.
All right, do we have any other questions? Anyone, feel free to use that chat feature that is down. It looks like we might have one. Let's see. Oh, no. No questions yet. Well, if you have any questions during this time, feel free again to list them in the Q&A. But we're going to go ahead, I guess, and for now, jump into the quiz portion of this. Go ahead, and there's a chat feature, not the Q&A feature, on your WebEx screen that you can go ahead and type your answers in, and we're going to keep tally of those different pieces. So we'll go ahead and get started. First question, in what year was the Telecommunications Act established? We'll give you all a couple of minutes. Again, go ahead and place your answers in that chat. Is it A, 1950, B, 1996, C, 2000? Again, this is for an Amazon gift card. Use that on anything that you want. Make sure when you're also sending these answers, send them to either all panelists or the host. All right, we're going to go ahead and looks like we have all of the answers in. Give it another 30 seconds. All right, And the answer is B, 1996. Next question, what E-rate year are we heading into? Year 20, year 21, or C, year 24? We're going to give it another 15 seconds. Make sure you get your answers in. All right, and the answer is C, year 24. Next question, what are the K-12 discounts based on? A, enthusiasm, B, sports team performance, or C, student enrollment? We'll go ahead and give it another 15 seconds. All right, and the answer is C, student enrollment. All right, next question. What are the library discounts based on? A, square footage, B, number of books, or C, number of special events hosted on site? Again, what are the library discounts based on? A, square footage, B, number of books, or C, number of special events hosted? We'll give it another 15 seconds. And the answer is A, square footage. Perfect. Well, we do have a winner, Larry G. You have won the gift card, so look out for an email from our DSI team. We'll get that to you. But thank you, everyone, for joining today. We really appreciate you attending. If you do have any other questions, feel free, again, to reach out to your DSI account manager or sales@dsitech.com. You can visit our website at dsitech.com, or you can reach directly out to my team, our customer success team at impact@dsi.com. And we look forward to seeing you all again in another one of our sessions.